Welcome to Dr. Surveyor YouTube channel. I am honored to have you subscribe, follow me and like the video. Thank you very much. Albert Einstein, born March 14, 1879 in Ulm in the Kingdom of Württemberg in the German Empire, died April 18, 1955 in Princeton, New Jersey, was a German-born theoretical physicist and Nobel Prize winner best known for formulating the theory of relativity and showing that mass and energy are equivalent by the mass-energy act, E=mc2. Through the special theory of relativity he revolutionized mechanics and clarified the concept of time. He was central in the development of quantum mechanics and is the founder of modern cosmology. He is considered to be one of the most important scientists of the 20th century. Einstein lived the first years of his scientific career mainly in Switzerland, where he was most recently a professor at the Eidgenössische Technische Hochschule Zurich. In 1913 he accepted an offer to become a professor at the University of Berlin, a member of the Prussian Academy of Sciences and eventually the first director of the Emperor Wilhelm Institute of Physics. He was later also elected president of the Deutsche Physikalische Gesellschaft for the period 1916–18. During his years in Berlin, he received the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1921, among other things for his discovery of the law of photoelectric effect. 30. He published more than 300 scientific works and 150 works on topics other than physics, including politics. 31. Einstein was on a lecture tour in the United States when the Nazis came to power in Germany, and therefore remained in the United States, where he became a professor at Princeton University. In popular culture, Einstein has become synonymous with high intelligence and the ultimate genius. His face is one of the most famous in the world, and in 1999 Einstein was named Person of the Century by Time magazine. The 100th anniversary of the theory of relativity was marked with the World Physics Year 2005. In early 1902, Einstein had a daughter, lieserl Einstein, with mileva maric, and became a Swiss citizen the same year. The daughter's full name is not known, and her fate after 1903 is uncertain. 36. In 1903, Albert and Mileva married. They later had sons Hans Albert Einstein and Eduard Einstein. In April 1919, he divorced Mileva and married his cousin, Elsa Lowenthal, who was born Einstein, but used the surname of her first husband, Max Lowenthal. The marriage remained childless. Hans Albert, 1904–73, became a professor of hydraulics at a university in California. He had little to do with his father, but shared several of his interests. Eduard, 1910–65, became interested in psychiatry. He was diagnosed with schizophrenia and spent a lot of time in hospital. The father sent money to his ex-wife for the treatment of his son. After completing his mathematics and physics education at ETH Zurich, Albert applied for a number of jobs, including as a secondary school teacher, but was rejected. In 1903 he got a permanent position as a patent attorney in electromechanics at the Swiss Patent Office in Bern. 37. He enjoyed the job and remained in the position for 7 years. In his spare time he worked on theoretical physics. He formed a scholarly discussion association and studied in particular Ernst Mach and David Hume, from whom he was clearly philosophically inspired. 38. During this time, Einstein wrote several scientific articles, despite the fact that he had no access to any laboratory and was not affiliated with any university. They were about thermodynamics and statistical physics and gave results that corresponded to what J. Willard Gibbs at Yale University had come to at about the same time.
Articles in the Annals of Physics missing references. This section needs more or better references for verification. In 1905 he published 4 articles with far-reaching effects. He introduced the special theory of relativity, explained the photoelectric effect, Brownian motions, and also derived his famous equation E equals mc2, which relates energy and mass.
39. The latter discovery meant that it should be possible to derive large amounts of energy from small masses, and lay the foundation for nuclear physics. 3 of the 5 articles he published that year in Annalen der Physik are subsequently considered to be among the most important modern contributions in physics. 4. Among other things, the article on the photoelectric effect. He received the Nobel Prize in Physics, but it did not happen until 1921. However, it did not attract much attention at the time that Einstein had presented his theories, and he did not get a breakthrough because of this. He received his doctorate from the University of Zurich, but was not hired as a lecturer at the university. Shortly afterwards, he tried to get a job as a teacher at a secondary school, but was again refused. An application for promotion to technical tests of the second degree at the Patent Office was also rejected, and only the following year did he receive that promotion. Further career in 1908 he habilitation at the University of Bern, and the following year was employed as a professor at the University of Zurich. 40. During this time he worked mainly with heat radiation and its properties based on his theory that it could be described as consisting of energy quantum, later called photons. But even then he had also begun to think of an extension of his special theory of relativity to include gravity. In addition, he wrote an important and more phenomenological work on diffuse radiation, a phenomenon that contributes to the visual impression that the sky is blue. 41. In 1911, Einstein received a full professorship at the German-speaking Charles University in Prague. From here he published the first works on the effect of gravity on light and the resulting redshift, need reference, and deflection. At this time he began to become aware of the fundamental connection between gravity and the geometric properties of space that could be described in the same mathematical language used in differential geometry. After more than a year in Prague, Einstein returned to Switzerland when he was offered a professorship at the ETH in Zurich. There he entered into a collaboration with the mathematician Marcel Grossmann to understand how Riemann's differential geometry could be used to describe gravitational forces. Einstein imagined how a mass, such as a planet or the Sun, would curve the space around it so that light and particles would have a different motion than in Newtonian physics. In the summer of 1913, Walter Nernst and Max Planck came to Zurich to offer Einstein a position in Berlin. He accepted the offer, which included a professorship at the University of Berlin without compulsory lectures, membership in the Prussian Academy of Sciences, and the leadership position of the new Kaiser Wilhelm Institute of Physics to be built. 42. In the spring of 1914, Einstein moved to Berlin. Late in the summer of the same year,